Pay more.
Tuesday on Good Morning Jacksonville, Election Day. We'll have live coverage of the big day from the First Coast to across the nation.
And saving money by finding a good deal, the key location, I'll tell you where to look. And Steve will have your forecast.
WJXX ABC 25, a First Coast news station. From the Information Center of First Coast News, your news leader.
The countdown is on. The First Coast has just one day left to decide who's next in the White House.
This is First Coast News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Donna Deegan.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Well, it all comes down to tomorrow. It is the eve of the election, and Barack Obama and John McCain are making their final pitches in those swing states. Senator Obama here in Jacksonville, in North Carolina, and in Virginia. John McCain in Tampa, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and just outside Virginia. And on the First Coast, elections officials are bracing for record turnout. First Coast News' Lindy Thaxton is at the elections office downtown tonight. Lindy?
Yeah, the work by this office until late this evening was almost like an assembly line, but they know they need their rest tonight because tomorrow they expect will be record-breaking.
Stack after stack of absentee ballots waiting to be opened. Ballot after ballot stacked, waiting to be scanned. Scanner after scanner working overtime.
They're counted, but they're not tabulated, so we don't know any of the results yet.
Jerry Holland, who supervises all of this, gets his hands dirty too. He checks circle after circle for mistakes like overvoting in a category. He and the rest of the canvassing board have to remark a new ballot, leaving out the questionable race. Work they are watching like hawks.
They're from different parties, representing either their candidate or their political party. If they see something and don't agree with the canvassing board, they can challenge it.
Attorneys from both sides that Holland says challenge about one ballot for every 100. And there are hundreds after hundreds.
Early and absentee combined will probably have 50% of our voters who have cast their vote prior to the election.
Holland says that's very unusual, and they're very appreciative because it takes pressure off Election Day. But that doesn't mean the lines of voter after voter won't be long. In fact, they think it'll be record-breaking.
We think it'll break the record of 1952, which was 84.6%.
And all the votes they've collected so far, that means your vote if you voted early. None of those have been tabulated yet. They will be added to the ballots that will be cast tomorrow. Reporting live downtown, Lindy Thaxton, First Coast News, your news leader.
Lindy Thaxton, thank you very much. Tomorrow, First Coast News invites you to be part of our Election Day Information Center using your cell phone. Now call us when you get to your polling place. Let us know how the lines are, how the machines are working, or perhaps how they're not working. Here's the number. It's on your screen. It's 632-1200. And also, if you can send us a picture, email it to us, or text us at news@firstcoastnews.com. We certainly would appreciate it. On the campaign trail tonight, Barack Obama paid tribute to his grandmother, Madeline Dunham, who helped raise him.
Obama found out she had died while he was campaigning here in Jacksonville. At a rally in Charlotte, Obama called her one of America's, quote, quiet heroes.
They're not famous. Their names aren't in the newspapers. But each and every day they work hard. They look after their families. They sacrifice for their children and their grandchildren.
Madeline Dunham had been fighting cancer. She was 86 years old.
In his statement, John McCain and his wife, Cindy, issued condolences to the Obama family over the loss of the grandmother. Now, meantime, John McCain held a rally in Indiana where polls show the candidates at a dead heat. McCain promised to turn the page of the era of George Bush.
And a report out tonight has cleared Governor Sarah Palin of ethics violations in the firing of her public safety commissioner. It was prepared by an independent counsel for the Alaska Personnel Board. A separate legislative investigation found that Palin abused her office by allowing her husband and staffers to pressure public safety officials to fire a state trooper who went through a nasty divorce from Palin's sister.
Well, all day tomorrow, First Coast News will be watching for any potential problems at the polls, and we will be at the election warehouse when the votes are being counted. Our special coverage begins on WJXX ABC 25 at 7. and on our digital channel 12.2 if you have digital television. Also, we're going to stream the whole thing, all of our election coverage, on firstcoastnews.com. And it looks like it's going to be a damp start to Election Day.
Tim's here with our first forecast. Hopefully not too bad, Tim.
I think just damp as far as just feeling the moisture out there. Most of us, I don't think, will need an umbrella. Let's take a look here. The stage is set. It's really hard to see. I mean, just gray to clear, very shallow area of moisture. The big showers and thunderstorms are offshore. We'll zoom in a little bit closer to make it easier for you. Notice over land, Doppler not showing any returns. It's offshore along the Gulf Stream, and there it pretty much should remain, again, just for some isolated sprinkles. So I'd love to say it's going to be perfectly clear. It's not. It's going to be gray. It's going to be damp, maybe a little bit of mist in the air. But again, as we go through the day, the clouds will thin, and some of us will even see conditions become brighter as we go through Election Day. We'll take it beyond Election Day 2008 in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Tim. New at 11 for you tonight. JEA has issued a boil water alert for several subdivisions and streets along San Pablo Road because of a water main break. JEA says customers should bring water to a boil for a full minute at least before drinking, food preparation, or cooking. This advisory remains in effect through November 6th. You can find a list of all the neighborhoods under the advisory section of firstcoastnews.com.
A campus alert at UNF tonight after a student said she was attacked in her dorm room. New at 11, how students are reacting to warnings from the university. First Coast News' Angela Williams is in our information center with the latest tonight. Angela?
Well, UNF police say they don't have a whole lot to go on, not even enough to release a full composite sketch. Nevertheless, people on campus are talking.
Just a typical day on a college campus. Students at UNF going about their business, but now with a little more caution.
First time I've ever heard about it, yep.
Freshman Matt Stone is talking about another student who was attacked inside her dorm room. The news made its way around school by campus alerts. UNF police say the incident actually happened on October 3rd, but the victim just reported it last week, telling them she was scared. Police say the student was assaulted after letting a stranger inside her dorm room. He told her he was picking up something from her roommate.
She turned her back, and when she turned back around, he sexually assaulted her and then fled the scene.
A scary situation that makes everyone proceed with caution.
You know, it's a nice campus, and when something happens like that, it kind of shocks the whole community.
Now, the victim told police she believes she saw the suspect before on campus, but she's not sure if he is a student or not. We're live in the Information Center. Angela Williams, First Coast News, your news leader.
Angela, thanks very much. And UNF campus police say if you have any information that could help in their investigation, just give them a call at 620-2366. Again, that's 620-2366.
It was on election night 10 years ago when 8-year-old Maddie Clifton disappeared from her Lakewood home. A week later, police found her body. It was beneath the waterbed of her 14-year-old neighbor, Josh Phillips. Today, Maddie's friends celebrated her life by visiting her grave and then sending balloons into the sky. The women also asked people around Jacksonville to leave a porch light on this week in honor of Maddie.
Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview with Paul Pinkham of the Times-Union, Josh Phillips said he would like to apologize to Maddie's family in person. Pinkham is a veteran courts reporter and has interviewed a number of murderers over the years. I asked him if, given that, he had a sense of whether Phillips, now 24, was being sincere.
I did, and it's, you know, it feels like going out on a limb to say that, but we interviewed a lot of inmates, Jim Schottler and I, during the Homicide 360 series, and I can tell you that a lot of those guys were hard. They were trying to pull one over, and I didn't get that sense with this interview at all.
I had this kind of like a little apology, like anything I go through, to make certain that she knows that that I'm sorry, you know, and that and also that that I'm trying. I'm trying to make her life worth something. You know what I mean? I'm trying because I'm still here. So I'm trying to make certain that I can be somebody, you know, not because I need to be somebody, but because I can be someone who can help people.
And you can watch the entire interview with both Joshua Phillips and Paul Pinkham on firstcoastnews.com. We have new information tonight in a story we've been following on a controversial church in Lake City that some call a cult.
As we reported in a First Coast News investigation last week at 11, Roger and Vonda Peterson have not seen their daughters in more than 20 years since the girls joined Mead Ministries. Well, after our report, the Petersons received some devastating news.
First Coast News Chief Investigative Reporter Jacqueline Bernard joins us now. Jackie.
Well, guys, you know, the Petersons got a call from someone inside Meade Ministries just hours after our story aired, telling them their youngest daughter, Sandra, died 3 months ago. They are heartbroken. Tonight, you will hear from the Petersons once again, but you will also hear from a former end-timer and her high school teacher who tried to intervene before it was too late. Beyond the rows of cornfields and rolling hills is the heart of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a place more than 1,450 miles north of Lake City, Florida. Two places so far away, yet so connected.
And the interesting tie between Lake City, Florida, and Sioux Falls, South Dakota, can't be broken. It's too intertwined.
Bob Kiner is a retired high school teacher and college professor who has made it his business to know all he can about that bond. He's heard and seen the secrets the quaint and quiet streets of Sioux Falls have hidden for a number of years.
I remember teachers talking about what's happening with these kids. What are they doing? You know, they're whacked out. They're gone. What is it?
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's a place where churches are landmarks. It is also the place where a very controversial religion got its start many, many years ago, called Meade Ministries, or the End Timers. It's now based in your backyard in Lake City. The End Timers got their start in Sioux Falls in 1973 in another church. First Baptist opened its chapel doors to a group of kids who came here each night to sing and read scriptures.
We were just a bunch of, young college, high school age kids.
Joni Cutler says her high school boyfriend, Gary Cook, was the group's leader.
A lot of us singing a song and sitting around listening to this preacher on an audio cassette tape. And I remember at first not really feeling that comfortable, but wanting to know more.
That preacher was Charles Meade. Gary Cook got to know him while going to college at Northwestern. What started out as a small gathering of about 10 kids began to grow, and concerns began to grow too.
I think we started making some people nervous with the type of teaching that people were hearing on some of the cassette tapes. It started to make people uncomfortable here at the church, and so we felt it was time to go somewhere else.
The End Timers moved around, often meeting at area hotels. Meade preached no one needed to see a doctor because there was no need to be sick.
Why should we be sick now? Why would you want to be sick? Oh, glory! You say, well, I don't want to be sick.
Meade also preached they would be the only ones to survive God's wrath in the end times, prophesied in the Bible. According to those who have left the group, the End Timers targeted those in high school or college.
They can snare your family or one member of your family so easily away, and you don't even know it's happening. It's just they just kind of grab them.
Roger Peterson and his wife Vonda lost their 3 teenage girls 20 years ago to what they call a cult. They haven't seen them since.
The question I get asked more than anything by anybody, I think, is how could they believe this stuff? And I said, well, I've gone back, said this before. How come so many people followed Hitler?
There's a reason why they like to get, the babysitters, the college-aged kids, because they're more impressionable.
In the early 1980s, End Time Ministries bought this building and used it as its church and school. The group was nestled between 2 college campuses and just blocks from Lincoln High School, where students were recruited to become members.
Gary was a college freshman, and when he became involved, and then began to recruit a lot of his friends. Those friends were the best, the smartest, the most outstanding kids in a high school of 1,800 kids. They were leaders. They were terrific students, and I think they were looking for meaning in life.
Kiner was a social studies teacher at the time, and Joni was one of his students.
As the students began to talk about things that they considered to be biblical, no medical help, healing that hasn't been manifested, secluding themselves, considering Charles Meade to be a prophet, I needed to know more.
Some of the teachers tried to, outside of the classroom, talk to us and even intervene with us and get us to think about what was happening and who we were following.
Kiner spent all of his free time trying to find out what End Time Ministries really was. Based on your studies, would you say that End Time Ministries, which is also known as Meade Ministries, is a cult?
Absolutely.
Without a shadow of a doubt?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Kiner fought back tears as he remembered some of the early days and students who were trapped in the group.
These people didn't believe in medical. services. One of our very best students ended up dying, giving birth to a baby in a bathtub because they didn't get medical help. And when you feel that intensely about those kids, as a public school educator, you have a responsibility to do everything that you can to help.
Kiner did what he could, but in 1984, Meade moved more than 100 followers from the Midwest to Lake City, constructing a large church there. Meade built and then settled into a sprawling estate in the Southwood subdivision. Over time, more end-timers moved in here. Today, you will find homes dotted along the path to the church and numerous subdivisions, which only belong to end-timers. Each usually has the signature Cadillac in the driveway. Meade drives the luxury car, and so do most of his followers.
We actually drove out to try and find the place where they were living. We looked up addresses to try and find some of the kids. And we found, I think we found the place where they lived because I could tell by the roofing and things like that, but we couldn't get access to any of them.
Kiner has tried to reach out to those now in Lake City over the years with no luck, but he did manage to help one.
Certainly when I first left the group, some of the people I first kind of got in touch with were some of my teachers who had cared so much about me.
Joni Cutler, who later married Gary Cook, never made it to Lake City. She divorced Cook and kept her 4 daughters in Sioux Falls.
I have been relieved when everyone who left that group left.
These days, there are no more end-timers in Sioux Falls. There are only families who hold out hope their loved ones will one day leave the group and come back home. And you may be wondering about the Petersons. Well, today they told me they are thinking about coming back here to the Jacksonville area one more time to find their daughter's grave and say goodbye. As for Joni Cutler, the former member, she is now an attorney and also a state representative in the state of South Dakota.
And that family still has 2 daughters.
They still have 2 daughters there, and they will try and attempt to reconcile with them as well. But the last 3 times over the last 20 years, they have not gone well.
Just amazing. All right, Jackie, I'm sure we have not heard the end of this one.
Absolutely
All right.
not.
Thank you.
Jackie, thank you. Well, tonight, tempers flare over Forest High School.
Coming up, parents furious about a vote to change the name.
And as the storm forms to our east, dry air comes in from the northwest. We'll take you from Election Day toward next weekend.
For everything related to your home, you need the First Coast Home Source. Log on to firstcoastnews.com for all kinds of information regarding your home. From keeping green to a green lawn, local business owners have answers for you. Like how to grow a better garden, easy bathroom renovations, and how to increase your home's curb appeal. It's the First Coast Home Source at firstcoastnews.com, keyword Home Source, for all the information you want and need about your home.
In the new film, The Express, I play football legend Ernie Davis, the first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy, college football's highest honor. His hope of even greater achievement was cut short when he died of leukemia at age 23. Playing Davis has helped me understand that all blood cancer patients deserve to live better, longer lives. Please join the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night Walk and help make yours happen. Visit lightthenight.org today.
From the Information Center of First Coast News, your news leader. This is First Coast News at 11.
Well, after an all-night session, the school board still has not voted on the controversial issue of renaming Forest High School.
This is so contentious, one board member has reported getting a death threat. Now, some say Nathan Forrest was leader of the KKK. Others say changing the name now, though, would trash Confederate history. Now, First Coast News' Eric Spivey shows us. New at 11, while tonight's discussion was civil, there was still a war of words.
What's in a name? A big debate in the case of Forest High School.
There are many more arguments on both sides, but few of them actually deal with the here, the now, and the future.
But tonight it was the past that provoked 3 hours of debate. Parents and local historians spoke against change, saying renaming the school ignores decades of good works and is an affront to Southern tradition.
If we change the name of Forest High School, is it over with? She whipped around in her seat in a circle, looked this woman right down and said, no. That's just the beginning. We're going after every one of them. Every one with a Confederate general's name on it's gone.
But others say General Nathan Forrest was a slave owner and an early leader of the KKK.
What could we put on a bumper sticker about Nathan Bedford Forrest? My child goes to the school named after the Ku Klux Klan member.
The debate over a name change has simmered for almost a decade, and after another round at the school board, doesn't show any signs of cooling off. In Jacksonville, Eric Spivey, First Coast News, your news leader.
All right, and of course, when the vote comes in, the results will be on firstcoastnews.com.
All right, time to turn to the weather, and we've got an important day coming up tomorrow, and
the great news is there won't be heavy thunderstorms or downpours. Good. No shovels required. Okay, so that's the easy
part. No excuses, right? No excuses,
really. Weather should not be a factor. Now, it's not going to be a bluebird sky of a day. There's going to be maybe a little drizzle in the morning, but really I don't think weather will be a problem. Let's take a look, and here are our current conditions. 62 degrees, the dew point's 52, or that is 57. It gives you a clue of the dampness in the air. Humidity 84%, winds out of the north at 9. Now, this is official. That's at the airport. What about elsewhere around the First Coast? Well, along the river and out toward the beach is still pretty gusty. Winds occasionally gusting up to over 20 miles per hour. So there is a chill in the air. Small craft flags are flying. Winds will diminish a little bit later tomorrow, but overall winds and seas will be up. Good for the kiteboarders and the surfers out there, especially early in the morning. Surf temperature 69 degrees. Breaking it down for you back over land, county by county. Nassau and Duval County, lots of clouds. A little dampness, but I don't think any rain. Afternoon highs of 69 to 72. Now, for those of you to the south and to the west of Jacksonville, you'll have a little more sun. So inland areas of Clay and Putnam County, you may make it to 74 degrees. Out toward Baker, Union, Bradford, Columbia, and Suwanee, you may see temperatures make it to 75 by late in the afternoon. On the other hand, southeast Georgia, if there's going to be any showers, that's where they're going to occur. And with the cool northeast wind, you folks up toward Brunswick, maybe a high of only 63 degrees. So when you go to the polling place, maybe make sure you grab a jacket or a sweater, because again, it will be cool as an area of low pressure continues to develop offshore to the east of us. But the main brunt, the main area of rain, pretty much from Savannah through the Carolinas, up through Virginia, and then the Delmarva Peninsula. Meanwhile, by Wednesday, high pressure builds into the area, and that means after Election Day, conditions will become brighter and warmer. Incidentally, out over the Caribbean, something tropical seems to be developing there. Will not be a threat to us, but for those of you with cruise plans in the Caribbean, keep a close watch on the forecast. Here's our 5-day outlook. Looks like this. After Election Day 2008, conditions will become brighter and will become warmer, especially Thursday and Friday.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Well, Senator Obama might be waving a terrible towel.
John McCain might be rooting for the Redskins. Coming up, why some say the outcome of tonight's Monday Night Football game may decide the outcome of the election.
My name is Janice and I have epilepsy. My name is Will and I have epilepsy. My name is Regina and I have epilepsy.
I'm Sherry. I'm Courtney. I'm John. And I have epilepsy.
For more information, contact the Epilepsy Foundation at 731-3752.
This is Free to Be Me Radio. 1 in 150 children in America today will be diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
Come ride the elevator of life. I'm free to be me, an elevator operator.
But it shouldn't stop you from being anything you want to be. When the elevator of life opens its door,
I'm a police officer protecting my community.
Be ready to take it to the top. This year, more children will be diagnosed with autism than AIDS, cancers, and diabetes combined.
I am a soldier and I'm proud to serve my country.
I'm a veterinarian and I'm here to keep our community animals healthy.
I'm the animator. I created this elevator of life.
Autism isn't the end, it's just the beginning.
For more information, contact HEAL, Healing Every Autistic Life.
Well, forget the polls. Halloween masks and football games might be just as accurate at predicting who will be the nation's next president, Barack Obama or John McCain. Now, for example, Halloween mask sales have matched the election outcome since 1996. Amazon.com tracks mask sales, and this year, Mr. Obama led with 43% compared to Senator McCain's 47%. And the Washington Redskins prediction goes back to 1936. Now, apparently, according to Snopes.com, when the team wins its final home game before the general election, the incumbent party wins.
So, let's look at two really good teams and find out. Pittsburgh in the nation's capital against the 6-2 Redskins. And here we go. Pittsburgh starts the game off with an onside kick. But the Redskins are ready. They recovered, but that Pittsburgh D so good. They only allowed 2 field goals early and got things cranked up with block punt. Pittsburgh currently leading this one behind Byron Leftwich, who's in for an injured Ben Roethlisberger, 23-6. All right, on to the Jags, officially on life support in 2008 and only halfway through the season. Here's a sobering note. There are only 3 teams in the entire AFC with a worse record than Jacksonville, whose coach is trying to make sense of it all.
We need to continue to teach, ask for, demand, practice, and get, the fundamentals that we're looking for.
Jaguar offense has been, frankly, terrible. 25th in points, 23rd in yards per game, 17th in rushing, 20th in passing. Let's talk some college football. The Gators defense was dominating. Well, we'll talk about Philip Fulmer, who has 31 losses since the end of the 2001 season, and that's apparently taken its toll on the Tennessee football program. He'll step down effective at the end of the season. Tennessee lost to Steve Spurrier in South Carolina Saturday night, must win its last 3 to even be bowl eligible. Hey, we had the pleasure to MC the 5th annual Tom Becker Charity Golf Tournament to fight ALS today. Also on hand, our friend Eagles View coach Ryan Keith, who is battling the disease in just 5 years. This golf tournament has raised more than $500,000 to fight Lou Gehrig's disease, and Tom Becker has certainly been an inspiration to all of us. And it started with just people who worked for him years ago, who thought so much of him they wanted to do something, and Tom comes every year. And
you were a part of it. Nice work.
Well, they do it all. They're good people.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
We'll be right back with your Election Day forecast.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The number you have dialed has been changed.
It's not in service at this time.
Falling behind on your mortgage? Afraid to call your lender? You don't have to face this alone. There's a new government-sponsored program that may help you keep your home. Call 866-687-6322. Nonprofit certified counselors from the National Foundation for Credit Counseling are available to work with you and can help deal with it completely free. The sooner you call, the better your options. Call or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. This nightmare does not have to happen to you.
Daddy?
All right, another reminder, we certainly hope you will be a part of our Election Day Information Center tomorrow. So call us when you get to your polling place. We want to know what's going on there. Here's a number on your screen, 632-1200. Also take some pictures with your little phone, your little camera there, and send it to us, news@firstcoastnews.com. We hope you be a part of our coverage tomorrow.
All right, Tim, quick word.
All right, don't let the skies fool you. It's going to look threatening, but it should not be productive.
All right.
Like we said earlier, that's good voting weather.
That's right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, the Tonight Show with Jay Leno is next on NBC 12, Nightline next on ABC 25.
And the news continues online at firstcoastnews.com and on your mobile phone at fcn2go.com. Good night.
The game America loves to play, Trivial Pursuit, is a new TV game show. Now you can play, star, and win. It's America versus studio contestants in a revolutionary new game show where you ask the question.
What's the name of the house cat that lives with Stuart Little?
Trivial Pursuit, America Plays.
Weekdays at noon on ABC 25.
Connection.